Yeah, so the title, that's what this video is. I want to vent about my year in 2025. It's been a bit of a year. And I'm also going to do it while I'm speed running, or attempting to, I should say. Attempting to speed run Outlast. And the speed run's loose. Let me just back myself up here. I guess I really just want to get to have a conversation, or I guess some sort of discussion on some more human things, some of the things that like really I feel like we just don't ever talk about. I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to take down the mask in front of other people. Hard enough even with someone you trust as truly and deeply as yourself. And really, I don't think you take down the mask as much as you do with yourself. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, like that level of, I guess, just human living and problems and venting about it. That's what I'm doing this video. I'm venting over my playthrough of Outlast. But why Outlast? So you're gonna have to bear with me. Just give me this. I'm only talking in the constraint of this run here. So just put me on while you're eating or something. I don't care. Before I was ever a YouTube channel, before I ever even started doing anything in terms of gaming on social media, I remember Outlast came out of nowhere. I mean, games were scary, but games, I maybe they did, right? But to me, at that point, I had never found a game that had pushed the boundary of what I thought was even allowed by law in a video game. And it did it so exceptionally well that I spent probably my first year or so trying to play it and getting no further than what it takes me, it's going to take me 3 minutes. So this game used to scare the shit out of me, and just the further I would get in, the more it would scare me. And when I first ever beat it, I beat this game on normal, or maybe it was easy. It was probably easy, right? And then I beat it on normal. I was like, okay, cool. Let's skip over hard. Let's try Nightmare. And I did Nightmare, and then I'm like, fuck it, let's do Insanity. I actually did Insanity, which that one is if you get caught, you die. You're set back, So I'm not playing Insanity. I used to play that, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. Is I played Insanity and did it, because I'd played Outlast a couple times at this point. It's really not that long a game. For me, especially compared to my first run, I think it was 8 hours. I speed ran it. This one took me 2 hours. And then I realized I could just keep chopping it down because I was figuring out what was going on. And dude, I was like 16 speed running Outlast on Twitch. And I don't know, it took me like an hour 10, an hour 20 at the time. I'm really not sure how long this one's going to take me here right now. It really just depends on how focused I am and how scuffed this run might be. I did do a run before this just to kind of smooth out some of my scuffs because it's been a long time since I've really played this game. But it's the only game I've ever really decided to speed run, I guess, in any capacity. Especially when it's like, okay, there's a glitch, I think, I'm already past it now, where you could just skip to the end of the game. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm talking a no glitch speed run, or if there's a glitch involved, it's not that one, right? That was kind of my deal. And there's a little bit of RNG when it comes to certain things I need to happen, like Chris walking down a hallway in one direction versus the other, where like I could end up waiting an extra 15 seconds. Really what this is me speedrunning it as best I can. Okay? But I just have this unique relationship with Outlast. It was one of the scariest games I've ever not only played as a kid, but like mastered. You know what I mean? But I'm not playing it on Insanity here. I used to do that, and I tried looking for it. Wiped off the face of the earth. You cannot find my old streams or anything. Not that I did anything with that. You just can't find them. The accounts don't even exist anymore. But there's one person on this planet who I know, and that's my best friend. Who used to watch those back in the day. So Isaiah, this is for you. I really, really liked Outlast, and I think Outlast 2, like, yeah, that really pushes what Outlast 1 did. Outlast Trials are fun. It's like Outlast-themed gameplay, which can, like, sometimes, it's scarier than Dead by Daylight, which really isn't saying much, but it's scarier than Dead by Daylight. But it's not Outlast scary, and really for me, Outlast 1 just holds this really special place in my heart, where, like, that was just the first game that I mastered, but it scared me every time. Like, it still scares me. So I guess now that I can't really just deject with talking about video games like I usually do and then sneaking something in there, I'm just going to make this up front here. This year especially, I should say 2025, so this past year, but you know, it's just freshly New Year's for me, so give me a break. This past year I feel like I've just been trying to pay attention to myself. And what I do, I guess. Just keep a third eye on me at all times. What did I do? How did it end up going? Why did I do it? And that might sound bizarre. I guess just saying that out loud, it sounds bizarre. It sounds like I'm trying to keep myself on watch here. And that's not really it. I guess just as I get older, I've been doing a lot of soul searching. I don't know if you remember the DayZ video. You probably don't because you're probably not watching it from that. But I made a DayZ video once upon a time. And I snuck a bit of philosophy in there. And honestly, I think that was the saving grace. I think that's why people really liked the video. And it's because I still very am. I feel like I'm a very spiritual person. I came from a bit of a Christian background. You know how that goes. And at some point, I kind of realized you had free will. And then all along the way that I wasn't really into it like that, you know. It was just one of those things where you were raised into it as a kid and you really just genuinely thought that's how the world worked. Like that, not only that's how it worked, but that's how it had to work because it's just what I've been told. You know, it was pretty fundamentally... It pushed the boundary. It was on the latter half of what Christian denominations are crazy and what are not. It was just over the border there, which is exactly what you want, I think. Oh my god, this part of Outlast, I love this. When you get downstairs or into this prison area, I don't know, you don't really have to watch this, I'm just saying, as we get in different areas, I love the environmental design and just how fucking freaky it all is. I feel like I go urban exploring sometimes, and I really, like, my aim at the end of the day is to end up going through a place like this and just be scared shitless. Not a place, you know, with other people in it, and that's always the problem for you other urban explorers out there. You know, you got to carry a pack of cigarettes on you at all times, just in case you need to, you know, pass an olive branch. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be here. Anyway, I've been a pretty spiritual guy, and I think it helped that I had that religious background, but also because when I was a little kid, I think this is just a part of me, right, is I don't really meld well with rules, or I don't even know if I would say that. I meld well with how can I get my way when I feel like you're intentionally keeping it out of sight. Okay, neither one sounds good. I'm just a bit of a rule breaker, and I can't help it, and sometimes it's exactly like I meant to do it, and sometimes I really didn't. But I'm just like, I don't know. Just when you can get away with it, I really like, I don't know. Not saying I'm breaking laws here, okay? I should really be careful how I word this, especially when I'm coming so deep from the heart here. I've always been a little rebellious, alright? It's one of the reasons, I'm also another reason, but it's one of the reasons, or one of the consequences of, I guess, just my overall relationship and feeling of family, where, like, outside of my immediate family, it's so pick and choose, and even then, it's not really, like, I don't really enjoy it. I have a lot of bad associations with family, where it's really, at the end of the day, I can't be fucking bothered, you know what I mean? So I just cut that shit loose, right? And that religion thing wasn't really good for it. So that was a big part of growing up. I guess what I'm going to be getting to really is pain. And if you've stuck it out for this long, I'm not going to try to hold that from you anymore. I'm going to give you a little bit of the good stuff. I'm here to talk about pain. Because there's just pain and change, and that's life, right? That is life. Life is painful. Life is painful. It tends to be. And when it's not for a while, that's because later on, you know, Maybe there's a window where it's going to be a little extra. There's going to be some learning. I feel like, I've always felt like there's almost this, you can call it whatever the fuck you want. You can call it God, you can call it nothing. The hands of fate, literally whatever. I feel like sometimes life is playing at you just as much as you're playing at it. I feel like there's no changing my mind on that. Sometimes I feel like it's having fun with me. In good ways and bad ways. So when it comes to dealing with pain, I feel like what I've been doing lately is realizing that I've had to go through pain and realizing it has changed me as a person. But I guess, like I said, I've been paying attention to myself this year. I just want to see I just want to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on because I don't. And a lot of this soul searching, like philosophy stuff, it's been relatively, I feel like I've just been playing around behind the curtain, so to speak. Just trying to see what I can, just to make sense of it in some way. Like, I'm just trying to come up with like an answer or even a feeling of what this is all supposed to mean. Is it all pointless? Because if so, let's explore that. Is it not? If so, let's explore that. And I've explored a lot of avenues. A lot of them. And I kind of started my 2025 off doing that. I was really digging around. I didn't really need to worry about much. Just keep working your job. I was creeping up on a new job promotion. I won't even tell you what that is. But it was big. For the first time in my life, I wouldn't be broke, but I still was. And you know, I guess I'm not now, but still am, right? More money, more problems. But I kind of had to focus on that. But I also had that to look forward to. And we're creeping up on the summer here, right? We'll get back to it, but I hate winter. I hate winter. I live in upstate New York. It's not just the weather. The weather just, it doesn't help. It's all of it. It's everything, including me. I hate all of it. It is that is painful. And this is one of the pains where it's like, man, if I could pass, I would. I would, 10 out of 10 times. I don't care if it's for the better. But creeping into the summer, out of the winter, I was doing some of this soul searching that I was talking about. And the thing about, I guess, soul searching is that it's both pointless and it's not. Like I said, I felt like I was trying to get to the heart of everything so I can, at least get an idea of early on. I don't know. I feel like I needed that, and I still don't quite have it. Actually, now more than ever, I feel lost, which is another thing we'll get to. But creeping up into the summer, boy, I was having a ball. There were some growing pains in my new job promotion that really, it took a lot out of me this summer. It did. That's one of the pains that actually turned out to be really good in nearly every way it changed me. But at the time, I mean, that was brutal. Brutal. But also, it was good. I was making money. Like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? If I'm going to work and I'm leaving in a shitty mood, but I left, and I made 200 plus that day, who gives a shit, right? Like, I've never, as a kid who came fresh off the press, making my 16 an hour, you know what I mean? So who am I to judge? But also, more money, more problems. Easily some of the best and worst times were this summer, but because, I feel like the worst times, I've just lived out long enough to see them change me into a better person. And that's one of the things I've always felt I've been doing. And maybe it goes with that rebellious streak thing, but I feel like I'm a person who is just nothing but change, right? Maybe that's all of us. Maybe that's just what humanity is, nothing but change, like if you agree. But it happens, it seems like it's so slow sometimes. And then sometimes I feel like I'm aware of it beat by beat. Maybe that's why I was a little rebellious as a kid too, and still now, because I think some people should have their feathers ruffled, and some things, just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean I have to do it that way, even if it is the right way. Big daredevil here, guys. Anyway, easily the best times I've had this year were between April and I would say October. But really, not including a trip, I took in October. I would say, like, if we're pushing it, September, mid-September, and I kind of fell off. But, you know, you take what you can get, and then now I'm in this low period, and it's harder to handle. But looking back, I can be grateful that, like, okay, now I'll go through the hurt because I was having a good time. I just have this kind of fanaticism for the summer. I've always been this way. I'm the kid who bitches and moans between one daylight savings time and another because it's winter and it's dark early. You know, not like not doing daylight savings time would make it dark any less early. Even that extra hour, I think I'd be wishing for 2 if we just stopped doing daylight savings time. But I still hate it, right? I still hate having to do that. So I really live it up in the summer. I was drinking my ruby red Kolsch's damn near every day. I think I've talked about this before. It was so good. It was so good. I got so much work done. I made so much money. I bought myself a new PC. It all came at a little bit of a cost here to me, but you know, the dividends are dividending. You know, the investment is worth what I'm getting. Sucked down a lot of Zaza. I'm not talking about no pizza. I really had a good summer. Did a lot of hikes. Here's the thing about the winter is when you're in the summer, you can just leave your house when you're not working and do something. And like nearly every time of day. And hey, you can in the winter. But no, you can't. I just went into one of my old places of work a couple days ago. I was talking to one of my buddies. He's actually this guy I go hiking with. And we did a couple this summer, so I was asking, you know, what are you up to? How are you doing with the winter? And he's like, oh my God, we've been going on winter hikes. And I said, oh, really? I was like, how was that? And he goes, well, it sucks. And I'm like, that sounds about right. Because for a second I got hopeful. I'm like, maybe I'm just doing this all wrong. Maybe I could be having a good winter. And maybe I could be. But I still haven't found out how to have one. We're still on the downward hill here. And that's okay. That's just life, you know. I think it's this kind of sine graph almost. Just this high tide, low tide. That's just what everything is. A breathe in, a breathe out, a give, a take. And I don't think it's much different with our lives. I think we're just going to go through some periods where we suffer and we, at least I do. I perceive it like I'm suffering a little more than usual. Or maybe that's really is just what it is. And I'm not crazy here. But I wouldn't be called Crazy Jake if I weren't a little bit off. Anyways, I really enjoyed the highs of the year. I enjoyed all the driving. I went on a week-long camp trip. Well, I think I gave away where I was living. I just doxed to myself, so I'll give this away a little more. I went to the Adirondacks for a week, which I'm no stranger to Adirondack camping, but I've never been this far north ever, and we took a week. That was pretty sweet. I mean, this gets back to what I feel like life is playing you sometimes, because our first couple of nights, we were just stopping at this campground on the way north, and we're like, well, stop here for a couple days and we'll take in the view, go on some hikes, do our thing, and we'll be moving on and upwards. 'Cause I feel like me and my girl, we succeed at the aspects, I feel like, that of nomadic living that camping can bring with it. Not like I don't think I could just up and leave and be able to do that, although I would really like to. But our first place was next to this beautiful, 100-foot wide, like, mountain river just coming down from those mountaintops. Boulders peeking through the water. Smoked a cigarette out there every morning. Poured over some coffee. Made some breakfast. We bought ourselves a Blackstone for this trip. Whew, what a game changer. Having a real good time for those first couple days. Life could not get better. It really couldn't. And I was like, man, if this is what we're starting with, I can't wait to see what we end with. Because, mind you, we were still traveling north. So our north spot was near a more popular town, on a certain lake. And unfortunately, this camp spot was like in the middle of town, but like kind of semi-rural town. Not quite, nothing crazy, but like there's an Aldi. There was a Ford dealership at the front of it, which was crazy because it had like a mini Ford dealership sign and like maybe 10 cars out there tops with like this shack that they were selling these out of. That was bizarre. Even more bizarre, we pull in and I kind of realize, oh, it's one of those rinky-dink. Like New York State, their campgrounds are either phenomenal. Like you would not believe the campgrounds you'll get in Allegheny. You go to the Adirondacks, it's more private, not private, it's all, New York State sites, but they're more clustered, they're older, things have grown in around them. It's harder to build an Aldi in the middle of Allegheny than I guess it was easier to pull it off in the middle of the fucking Adirondacks. That's crazy to me. But anyway, we get there and our campsite's no bigger than my bedroom, and we are literally right next door to a lumber company. So the warehouse, 100 feet out. The fence, literally, the chain link fence came right up to our campsite. And at night, those lights clicked on and shined right at us. And it was next to like some huge state trooper barrack or something like that. And they were clearly doing, at first it took me like 2 days to realize this. They were doing some kind of like gun range firing. You know what I mean? Like practicing with rifles or something. And you're also waking up to the beeping and the backing up of these forklifts and these big motor vehicles. And like, wow, good morning. And that's just where I feel like it was funny, where I really had the best time. I kind of let those 2 days slip through my hands. The 2 days at the other site. I'm not really butthurt about the site. It was just, you break out and the trip was so beautiful. How much better can it get? And then you don't even realize it's kind of out of under your feet until you're already gone. And I did soak up all that time. I remember that. Life moves slower when I go camping. Definitely, I hate my phone as much as I already use it. And I love camping just being my excuse to not touch my phone unless I'm doing music or I need it for something. So anyways, life was slow out there and I was really enjoying it and I soaked it all up. We both did. But it just, it's gone before you know it. Even when you're in it and you feel like it couldn't possibly go any faster. It couldn't possibly be 6 months ago. No, because I'm doing it right now. And then it's 6 months ago. I really don't like that part about life. Well, I do and I don't. It's useful for the times that you really don't like right now, because then it's over before you know it. But man, when you're in it, let me tell you, it feels like this moment has never started or ended. It's just always been. Anyway, some of the highs this summer, I invited my best friend over to my house for a couple of days because he was kind of in between jobs, but he had so much money in the bank account. He was like, I'm just going to take a 2-week break. Perfect. So I invited him over and we set up the PS5, 2 PS5s in my room, played Helldivers and Finals and I think Rivals or something, and drank alcohol. That was like every middle schooler's dream. Like, we used to sleep over together all the time in middle school and play games together, and this is just the adult version of that. Like in middle school, you're having fun with your boys. It's just crazy that you stop doing that. And even like when you do sometimes, passing the controller back and forth on every death in Modern Warfare and drinking a Coke, doing it completely sober, and that's your fun. That, you need a little bit more, I think, as you get older. Not like I wouldn't be satisfied or content with that. I think you get what I'm getting at, though. So that was awesome. I didn't ever think I'd be given an opportunity like that, let alone the fact that I did. That was one of the things I was very grateful for from 2025. It was very personal to me that I got that. I planned and successfully initiated future plans and distant trips with my girlfriend. I actually had enough money to put it away to pay for the ridiculous price of Airbnbs, which are fucking outrageous. And at this point, sometimes I just wonder if I'm better off sleeping in my car, but whatever. I finally had enough money, and then the airplane costs and the Airbnb and just putting it away for these trips, that ate it all up. Well, it didn't eat it all up, but a lot of it, it did eat a lot of it. It's ridiculous how much you have to pay just to go do something in the greater, the same country that you live in. And one of the trips was just a drive. Actually, that was the less expensive trip. Still, it was just cool that I was able to plan these things out and do them and be able to pay for them for the first time in my life without emptying out my bank account. It is crazy that what $300 was to me a year ago and what it is to me now. Not a whole lot of a difference. It's still a lot of money. And I keep that in mind. But let me tell you, a year ago I needed that. That could have been life-changing, Now you can make it in a day if you really try. You just have to be willing to whittle yourself down. And kind of just embarrass yourself for the amusement of these people so that they throw money at you. Lick their ass cheeks sometimes. And I'm getting sick of digging for gold here. I'm kind of finding my balance with work. It's just, I don't know, good money, people are rough. And one of the things, this is kind of getting into my summer, which is going to get into the compounding winter problems that I've been dealing with. One of the things I've been doing, and this was just an inevitable part of my soul searching that I mentioned earlier, was I was partaking in certain psychedelic substances. Sometimes without much of an aim, just for general discovery, and sometimes with more specific aims in mind. But accompanied with that, I was really enjoying them, and then we get into the summer, and so I'm using them because I'm having a good time. I played a lot of Clash Royale this summer, out back, with a freaking doob in my hand, choking on it as I 3-crowned people, okay? I was sipping a nice cold beer next to me, and that was the problem, right? Is getting to these light beers. And just having my fun with substance. Richard Traeger, I don't mean to cut myself off here. I have always loved Richard Traeger's voice actor. What a marvelous character in this little horror game here.
As witness or whatever, you must be exhausted. Let's take a break, huh, buddy? The old 2-martini lunch? Have a little confab, blah, blah. Heavier than you look. A little cardio wouldn't kill you. Okay, here we go, arms and legs inside the car at all times.
Something about him being a little, tongue-in-cheek about everything and just being so... I mean, it's, he's the cold, cruel doctor who doesn't really care. He just wants to, But...
I love the mountain air up here at night. You want to head out and take a stroll? Go ahead, I'll wait here. Go on, run free. I'm in no hurry. No? All right. Nose to the grindstone, I like that. Okay then, right this way.
I really liked... I remember very few voice lines or things I've heard through my lifetime, but Richard Traeger's entire dialogue, his monologue, is one of them. Anyway, back to the old thing. Having my fun with substance. I feel like working a forward-focused job, not forward-focused, what is that supposed to mean? A customer-focused job where I'm talking with people and that is how you make money. It gets very tiring, and I feel like I'm just one of those people who've been kind of gifted at, I guess, just seeing, reading people a lot quicker than I think some other... I don't want to tell myself like I have a superpower here. I can just read people like a snap, you know what I mean? And I can play to that. I use that to my advantage. And I'm a well-liked guy. Maybe not on YouTube, right? This isn't the place. I'd rather you hate me. So that's why I'm just getting it all out here. Anyway, one of my social battery rechargers guaranteed is substance. Every single time. Because I'm very good in social situations. But social situations tire me out. Especially when you actually have to care. And when you have to turn around to another shift tomorrow. But I want to play my video game tonight. Also, and or it's the summer, so this is happening either way. I am cracking a beer and having my J and whatever the hell else I want. Because I can have it. Because I'm a working man. Who gives a shit if I'm drunk in my off time? And I was living that up. Well, the thing is, in the summer that's good. In the summer that's good and fine. There was no problem with that. I don't think there was much of a problem with that. I have a strange relationship with alcohol, and lately this year, especially starting this fall, I realized my stomach honestly can't take what it used to. Even just drinking beer on an empty stomach, you got to be careful. Liquors and stuff, like the way I used to drink when I first turned 21, that if I did that tonight, that would kill me, I think. I would be so sick. I get, I don't know. It's just once you, I would describe the fall as winding down from the summer, but for me, I'm clinging onto it because I so desperately don't want to get myself to the exact day I'm on today. Because it sucks every single time. So, you're kind of enjoying yourself to the most. And like I said earlier, I'm glad I did that. But oopsies, what do you do when life sucks? You drink some more. You partake, you indulge a little bit, because what I didn't realize was that as I was going through, coming out of the summer, we had another trip lined up in October. Okay, this is to Washington State. It was fucking awesome. It was so good. Okay, cut out where you went. It was so good. And for me, it was one of those weird things. That's the weird thing about the falls. Like take it or leave it, but if you're going to do a trip, do it now. Because it's going to be probably guaranteed really good. At least, I'm talking about me here. Rain or shine, I'm really going to be enjoying myself. I love just the gloomy atmosphere. I love the days where it's like 60. I love the all of it. Just keep it coming, right? Don't stop it. That's the problem. Don't stop it. Because the fall, I think, is the peak of the year. And before it gets really cold. So we went on that trip and we enjoyed ourselves. And then you get back and you're back home. And you realize that you don't want to be back home. So it's like death by 1,000 cuts. That's what I'm trying to get at here and leading up to where I am now. Although I still have some time to get it out of me, so I don't really care. But the winter really is death by 1,000 cuts. It's you don't realize it until after it's already a problem that, or at least this is at least my case. Nearly every year, and this year especially, you don't realize how much emotional pain you might be in until it's a problem. Right? Remember that soul searching I said I was doing? And a lot of that was emotional and physical and just this inner search. And not really inner search, but just trying to understand myself. Because I really don't. I don't get why I do the things I do or what I do. I have a lot of control, but only so much control. And what I do when I get into my substances, they're useful tools, but it's just the line is so thin and I am way too eager to just, oops, I didn't see it. And here we are, and, what was going to be a night of productive writing with a drink or, a little joint ended up being just getting crazy high or crossed and then playing a video game. Fun in the summer. But then you start feeling little bits of pain, or life starts pulling you down a little bit, and maybe you just don't know it yet. I didn't know it yet, so there's a little bit of denial there. And then I realize I'm kind of withdrawing a little bit. I'm starting to isolate myself a little bit more. All I want is just this alone time, or all I want is just... Actually, it really did just start with the drinking, because that picked up a little bit. And I was like, I need to get a handle on this, but I can't, right? Because every night I'm like, oh my God, let's do it again. Run it back. Last night was off. Like, the thing is, when you do that, and then that's the high of your experience being alive, and then you realize, like, it's not summer anymore, so the summer is not giving me the high of being alive. Just that is. So that's why I'm so eager to do that. And it really does take discipline or being willing to. What I think this does is it numbs out pain, and that's not what I think it does. That's what a lot of this stuff does. Even using, I would say, weed in a I wouldn't really say recreational way. That's a hard one. Weed is. I definitely think some people just use it in that way to numb out, and some people don't. And when you mix it with alcohol, 100% of the time you are. And that's what I was doing, because I love my joint and I love my beer and I love the feeling I get when I'm on both of them. And then you do that for a little too long, oops. But then when you realize you have to stop, you're not putting yourself down at the same spot that you got up. If that makes any sense. You're not just like, oh, I'm going to do dry January, but you're in the perfectly chipper mood and spirits you were a couple months ago. You're not the person you were. And so it's a lot harder to give it up when you want to. It is a lot harder. Because then you put it down and you start getting miserable fast. A lot faster than you would have if you just, were like, oh, I need to take a break for this week in July. I don't know. I have a fixation on the summer. It's not only the summer. Some of you might be getting the understanding that really it's just, this is my cycle of life, I guess, my high and low periods. It happens to be summer down into winter, right? With the fall being like a little burst, and then, you're done. But it's so much harder to put down those things that you use to cope, because it's like, okay, I just need to survive until next summer. I just want to feel not hurt, I guess. That's what all of us people really want in our passive time. It sucks to be in pain, right? And because it sucks so bad, it's easier to just deny it. And then maybe drown it or numb it, or just do whatever you can to generally distract yourself from what you're going through. And then when you're trying to engage with it, it's tough, it's hard, it takes a lot of energy. So then you can only engage with it in short periods, and before you know it, you're giving yourself the grace I will say, of having another night where you cope. I feel like that's the hard thing, is I really I can appreciate people who are willing to be sober for forever, because I am just not one of those people. Wow, we're really kind of getting to the heart of what I'm going to talk about. So I guess I won't put it off for too long, because it'll probably take another however long, and then we'll be done with the run before I know it. Oh my God. So, Winter's Wrath has forced me to awaken to this, I guess, personal affliction and my life anxiety, just my general anxiety now. And you don't wait to handle this thing until it becomes a problem. At least I don't. Or I didn't. I like to think that I would. Here's the thing, is I like to think I'm a good guy, and then I'm not. And that's what really pisses me off about myself, is because I can be. But I've never really thought I was. And it really didn't help growing up in that church thing and then thinking I was going to hell every day. I genuinely did too. I lived in fear of not only death, but like immediate hell, because I kind of felt like the black sheep, like I didn't belong. And I wasn't the only one who felt that way, which is a relief in my adult years. But as a kid, it's just kind of hard when everyone's in on this thing that you're not. And then, of course, there's the social pressure and the cultural pressure. Get it? Because the word cult's in there. But it's not cult pressure. It's cultural pressure. I guess I want to say religious pressure. Whatever you want to call it. That doesn't even matter. I've just always kind of felt like I wasn't a good enough person, and so a lot of my conscious, adult life, where I could actually start to get a handle on the damage I've done, and this is back in like high school. I kind of realized, like, you got to start getting it together, And that's kind of been what I've been trying to do, is get it together. But I just don't feel like in my heart I'm a good person. And I really couldn't point to anything to tell you what I am or not. It's just always been something I've struggled with. So I want to do the best I can and be the best guy I can be. But then I have my own personal struggles, right? My own personal struggles, which are irresistible. This is the crazy thing, is sometimes it's so easy to look at someone, anyone else, because I do this too, and be like, bro, just don't do that. Or like, bro, what's the problem? Like this or that. And like act like it's, so fucking easy, right? But it is so hard when it comes to you dealing with yourself. Because then sometimes you don't have a choice. You're going to fuck up in your own ways, and it just seems so simple where it's like, man, what's wrong with you? But you're gonna. I've just been kind of going through it. Life has been picking up a little bit. I've got to move here soon, and the last, I'd say month, I'd say probably all of December, I spent in this stage of denial that I was even like in any sort of pain. Because why would I be? You know what I mean? Nothing really happened like that. But it's just been death by 1,000 cuts, and then you don't realize it until it's over, that your heart aches, right? Your heart is aching, and you've been pushing it aside, and you don't know what to do with it. And every day it gets a little worse. So the struggle now that I've been, okay, like I was going a little harder with the beer, and then I was buying more, or there were higher ABV, and then I realized I was just going through the alcohol spiral again. So we're trying to calm down on that one. But I can't exactly go without it forever. So instead of just trying to hold your breath, don't drink ever, don't even touch it, and then like, what am I going to do? It's just going to be a rebound, and then we're here next winter because in the summer I was really enjoying myself after that dry period. It's just this thing with myself. The saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. I am more confused than ever. It's like, in a lot of ways, I feel like a fucking loser. The world's biggest loser. I mean, biggest and truly, because I've met a lot of losers out there, and a lot of losers worse than me, but I've never met a loser that makes me feel as bad as I've made me feel. Constantly up until this very second that I'm talking. And that's the trouble too, is because sometimes I'm my biggest ally. I'll be my biggest advocate, but then other times I'm not. It's not even like you're your own biggest critic. It's like I'm my own problem. I'm the devil on my back almost. And then it clicked. And I kind of feel almost like there's this two-faceted side to just people in general. I feel like a lot of what I struggle with is, the devil you know. Like almost like we all have a devil in us, not even on your shoulder. Like the devil isn't real, it's you, you know what I mean? Or in you. But like, it's like quicksand. Don't struggle, you know what I mean? You have to play it smart, because if you freak out and try to escape it, you're going to end up killing yourself, because that's the only way you can get away from it. But my problem with this, like, almost, the devil you know, is why am I... Just years ago, I thought, like, man, I'm really mastering control of myself. Even this year, I thought, like, this is perfect. Like, I'm learning more about myself, and I'm understanding myself more. And then something happens, and it all blows up, and it's like all the, nice and organized papers and files and folders in an office, like, blown all over the floor. And then you're back to square one, where I'm just asking, what the fuck is going on? Why am I this out of control with myself sometimes? Or why am I fucking this up in a way that feels like it's so bad? Why don't I have it anymore? And why am I in, like, almost agony? Aren't we all? I guess that's what I'm venting about, is 2025 was a good year. A good enough year. It was kind of low-key. Honestly, I'm grateful that I got to take it as easy as I did for as much work as I put in this year, because I don't think I've ever worked harder, but I also don't think I've ever gotten it easier. So that was something I was grateful for, and I really liked our trips and stuff. And I know, like, some of this winter, no, okay. At first, I thought this winter was just about, like, biding your time again and just doing what you can to get to the other end. And that's true, but what I was doing is not it. But I almost don't understand this internal struggle where it just does seem so clear and simple. Make a plan and stick to it. And then you can't, because that's life, I guess. I think because I'm always changing, that the plan I make for today, I'm not really going to like in a week, or I'm not going to stick to it, or things change and I can't. You know, plans suck. They suck because they rarely go how you want them to go exactly. Which is why you kind of have to learn to be a little lenient with some things that you don't want to happen, which I'm good with. I take things on the chin, I really do. But now it's just been so much. I can only bide my time for so long before it's not even over. It's January 1st. What the hell is this? Why don't I have that, like, twinkle in my eye anymore? Why do I feel like I'm out of control of myself? Or even if, I don't know. I don't really care if I'm successful in life if I'm not enjoying living. And lately, I have not been enjoying living. I'm just going to say it. I think that's a normal thing. I think a lot of us go through this. Where it's okay that you don't like being alive right now, right? That's okay. Right? How are you going to deal with it is the problem. And when you get done dealing with it and realizing that you're just trying to, hide from it or do whatever you can to just fix it and make it stop, then it gets worse. Then you realize you were in a lot of pain already and it's still here, pal. It's still here and you still have to figure it out. But I kind of had this awakening. I brought the whole devil. I'm not going to call it a motif. That's not what it is. Just the imagery, I guess. Because it kind of clicked to me that maybe that's just it. Maybe that's just it. Right? The devil in you. And what devil would you rather deal with than the devil you know? You know what I mean? So, but this is the confounding thing. Is this whole year, I really thought I was getting somewhere with this. With this figuring myself out, and all I think I've done instead is just change. Which is funny because that's what was happening anyways, but it's just funny that I expected anything more out of it. Like an answer or an idea or a feeling or a thought, and I have no idea. I guess you can know yourself pretty well. But part of knowing yourself is knowing what you're going to do that you're, not necessarily going to want to have done. Just knowing what your tendencies are, I guess. And my tendencies tend to rely a lot around substance. And just, I don't know, just the different ways that you can experience being a human being. I really do enjoy that. A lot of the time, right? Not all the time, but a lot of the time. Sometimes I do wholly and truly pay the price for it, and I'm still chipping away. But I feel like this, in realizing this almost deal with the devil thing going on, that my biggest fears are still, like, it's not a 0% chance that they won't come true. And what do I mean by that? We have a lot of fear. I think fear really drives a lot of negative psychological movement and motion, I guess. Fear is a hard thing to shake off. Fear is a hard thing to recognize you're even feeling. Because sometimes you don't do something because you're experiencing fear. You do it out of the avoiding fear, period. You know what I mean? But you don't realize it. We all do this. But I do recognize that a lot of my the way I feel towards myself, the unkindness and the meanness I feel towards myself, does ironically come from this internal root of insecurity and not really self-consciousness. What am I trying to say? Lack of confidence. That's what I would call it. That's what I would say it comes from, is just that at the end of the day, which is so crazy because, you know, you can strut around life as long as you want. Like I said, I'm good with people and making some moves here in my job world, but I just don't have that confidence that I had, that I had this summer. I guess just the confidence or the security to know that even if I mess up, or I guess I just had the confidence that I would take things on the chin because it's summer and life is good, and nothing's really threatening me right now. There's nothing to really be anxious about. And now that it's winter, there's some things to be anxious about. I'm going to be moving here soon, which is exciting, but still lame that I live with my parents, especially at the age I am. That is humiliating. Absolutely humiliating. But there's just more worries now, and now I'm going through my own thing. I guess my biggest fear with this whole, the devil you got to deal with, is betraying myself. And just who I want to be at the end of the day. I want to be a good person, what I think is a good person, not by any sort of explicit moral code or anything. I just, show kindness to others, be nice, be normal, be a pleasant, positive impact in other people's lives. And to some extent, I can do that. But then to some extent, I still cause some damage. Especially when it comes to my more personal relationships. Then when it comes to, I guess, lowering my mask a bit and being more authentically me, the devil rears his head a little bit. Or people catch wind of my newest fuck up. Which is hard to have to deal with, but I have to fuck. I have to fuck up. I have to do it. It's a compulsion. I am compelled to make my errors. Why? I don't know. And that is the hardest part. Because I'm not really out of control in any way that should concern you as a human being. But I feel like I'm out of control in a way that concerns me and what I really want from myself and for myself. And it's not totally unmanageable, but now that it can become a problem, now that it poses a real measurable threat of potentially down the road catching me off guard. I don't know, maybe just keeping that in mind is enough to keep me from ever, of course I wouldn't ever do anything horrible willingly, right? But you think that, and it's like, just one of these days, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? Right? Life has been so chaotic. I've been in so many situations I couldn't even imagine. I just didn't think that was a real thing that happened. And a lot of them are good, a lot of them are bad. And I just can't help but wonder, am I gonna fuck this up for myself? Am I gonna fuck this wanting to be around up for myself? Is my candle worth the fire here? And it is right now, but what's gonna happen the day it's not? What kind of deals am I making with myself here where I recognize, okay, you can't just hide or just stop doing all the things that you don't like about yourself, because if we could all do that, we'd all be perfect people at the end of the day. None of this would be interesting, okay? But also, you can't just listen to every beck and call at that dark pit that's within you. You can't just do whatever you want, whatever your impulsive thoughts are. Now, I have learned this year just the importance and even the potential consequences of free will. which I am a massive advocate for free will, but sometimes my will, I've stretched it a little too freely for myself, so I understand reeling back on that a bit. But I just feel like you can't put yourself in this cage. You really just have to take it like this, like it's a dance, step by step. I'm not thinking 5 steps ahead. I'm focused on getting this right as I do it. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. I guess I'm just worried that I'm going to trip up and ruin it all for myself. But it's all good. It's all cool beans. You know, I'm chilling and I got a lot of it out of my system now that I got to vent to you about it. Thanks for taking my negative energy out of me and listening to it in a format like this. I can't even believe you did that. Any of you watching to this point, you are the real ones. Because I don't really know what I've been talking about. I just had an idea in mind and I sat down and I talked. And I wanted to play Outlast. I don't know if you've noticed by now, but it's not exactly. I'm recording this and playing Outlast separately because that game still scares me and I really want this run to be as scuff-free as I can get it. I really appreciate you guys just taking the time to hang out and talk with me. Right now we're getting to the end of the game here, and I've said all I really want to say. What else do I have to say? Sorry for the videos. Sorry for nothing else, I guess. I don't really know what's going on in 2026. I don't know. I just got home from Okay, I'll let it slip because you stayed this long. I got home from bartending a New Year's Eve party. So it's 4:08 in the morning. I finished my it's 4:08 in the morning right now. So forgive me if this was good in some ways and bad in the other, but I feel like that's what life is. It's good in some ways and bad in the other. But also I feel like that's just what we are. We as people, good in some ways and bad in the other. We're just caught in between, I feel. And at the end of the day, all you can really do is your best, even if it's not good enough. What did I watched Neon Genesis Evangelion again lately. And there's this one scene where Masato freaks out on Shinji. I think it was End of Evangelion actually, which is, that movie is peak. Especially if you watch episode 25 and 26. I think that's what they are. In between. Great movie, but there's this line somewhere in the series where Masato freaks out on Shinji and basically says that, like, no, he was like, no one understands me. She's like freaks out, like, no one understands you. No one's going to understand you like you will understand you. No one's going to sympathize with your situation or really truly understand the person you are except for you. And so that's why you have to be good to yourself. That is why, because no one is going to know what you're going through like you will know. And you're the only one who's going to be able to relate to yourself on that level. And so that's why it's important to be kind to yourself. And that's kind of why I'm getting frustrated with myself not being kind to myself. And more frustrated with this thing that I don't understand, that maybe I just made up, but like the why do you do it, why do you not? I don't know. That's all I really had to say, guys. We're at the end of the game here. I don't really have a whole lot else to go over. I made an Outlast video once upon a time, but that I made sure that one... You can find the Titanic, but you won't find that video. You know what I mean? The writing was bad in that one. But I really enjoyed playing Outlast. I really, really liked this game. And I don't know. Something told me it would be fitting. I don't care if 100 of you ever see this video. I just want to thank you for sitting around and listening to old Jake talk. I'm not sure how much longer I have. Judging at the time, I'm at an hour 8 minutes of talking. And if I cut it down, it's probably an hour at this point. So you've got maybe 8 more minutes, 10 more minutes of me playing the game. I'm just going to leave you to it. You don't even have to... I don't know, you got what you came here for. Just turn it off. Thanks for watching.
explain why the results could not be reproduced in the United States?
I have my theories. My homeland in those years. It's impossible to understand the things we felt, what we believe. The overwhelming fear, the ecstatic rage. English words are more than the human mind is capable of extraordinary things.
Saying the experiment needed...
The proximity to death, to overwhelm. As the subject, when witnessed an appalling, was carried to the edge. You have done good work. Am I ready? You are. We will join the Wall Rider in just a moment. My Job, you alone shall escape the Talva. This is your penultimate act of witness. The promise of the prophets was always freedom from death. And here it is. You will watch and record my death, my resurrection. And together we will be free. You are no longer in any danger. I fixed the elevator. It will take you to freedom. We will all of us be free. Now, my son.
such luck. I am older than sin, but somehow the only one left. Because of Billy. He takes care of me. He may think I'm his father. He certainly loves me, poor idiot. Do you know what this symbol represents? It warns of a nanohazard. Microscopic machines. Technology we have had for decades but never mastered. Murkoff discovered in my research a workaround. Turning the cells in the human body into nanofactories. It's the natural function of cells to produce molecules, but through psychosomatic direction, we engineered the precise molecules necessary. Mind over body. It was foolish and wrong to think we could control it. To use madmen to make something so strong. You have to stop him to murder Billy. Turn off his life support, his anesthesia. You have to undo what I've done. No one can get out of this place while he lives. You must kill him.